You can't bake without an oven, right? Wrong. For me, baking in the backcountry has been a great way to both relax and get creative on my backpacking trips. And I'm so excited to share this knowledge and skill set with you. Let's get started. Pizza is one of my go-to recipes for the backcountry because it's a comfort food and it's also just as good leftover and cold as it is hot out of the oven. For my ingredients, I've got some dough, cheese, some pre-sliced vegetables, pre-seasoned tomato sauce, and a summer sausage that I'm going to use to substitute as pepperoni. I've also got some oil. You could use butter if that's what you happen to have on hand. Now, the way I'm going to make this is by first starting to cook the dough. It's going to cook on the bottom faster, so I'm going to stop midway and flip the dough before I put my toppings on the pizza. I'll start by oiling my pan just a little bit. And make sure you're coated as much as possible, although you're about to press the dough into the bottom of the pan. So if you don't have every single surface covered, it's going to be okay. Now I'll press my dough down. This is going to be a little bit of a deep dish pizza. And I'm just pressing the dough until I'm going to have an even thickness all the way around. So you can customize your dough to fit whatever pan shape you happen to have. Right, now it's time to get that stove going. If you have a stove where you can turn down the heat, turn it down now and get it almost as low as it can go. That's going to give the dough more time to cook through the center and up to the top. One last little press out here. Try and get it as thin as I can and as even as I can. Place the dough on the stove and I'll cover it with a lid, again to help build up more heat inside. Now while this cooks on the bottom, I'll start prepping some of my toppings. This summer sausage I'm going to use as pepperoni. The rind that's covering it is not edible, so I'm going to go ahead and slice away a little bit of that rind. I'll make as thin slices as I can. Some people like it a little thicker. You'll figure out what you like best. And then I think from here I'm going to do some bite-sized chunks so that my 3 slices goes a little further. There we go. Because of this rind, I can go ahead and reuse this sausage throughout my trip. Let's check on this dough and see how it's doing. It's definitely puffed up a lot. I'll just pick up a small corner of it. And that is ready to flip. So I'm going to go ahead and move it off of the heat. Pick it up with my spatula. And flip it on over. Now I'm going to set this on a rock to protect the ground from this really hot pan while I put my toppings on. Just like at your pizza parlor back home, I'm going to go ahead and start with the tomato sauce. And I'll just smooth that on with the spatula here to try and get good, even coating. Spread this sauce around a little bit so it's as even as I can get it. A little extra I'm just going to go ahead and put right back in the bag. There we go. Next up is cheese. I've also got a pretty thick crust, so the more cheese I have, the less bready it's gonna seem. And I also kind of like it when the cheese spills off on the side because those little crispies are pretty tasty. Things that sound a little funky in your kitchen at home, but actually taste really good when you're camping. Going into those little pepperoni bits. If you're feeling particularly fancy, or if you want to spend a lot of time on your pizza, you are welcome to pre-cook your summer sausage, and that'll give it just a little bit more flavor, a little bit more bite. And I'll top it off with a few of my pre-cut vegetables. My pizza's looking fairly large right now, so I think I'm just gonna stick with a little bit of onion, give it some extra flavor. And it's ready to go back on the stove. I'll turn my heat down even lower now if I can. And I'll go ahead and put the lid back on to help create a little bit more heat and melt that cheese faster. Then I'll try and be patient while I wait for my toppings to melt and my crust to cook all the way through. I'm hearing some sizzling in there, and I'm smelling that age-old smell of melted cheese, so I'm starting to get pretty excited. I'm gonna lift the lid and see what's happening under there. Oh, that looks so good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat now. Take my pizza off that stove. And then the hardest part is figuring out how you're gonna slice and share your pizza. So what I tend to do is make personal sized pies, and I'm probably just gonna eat this one all by myself. As you can see, pizza is a really simple and easy recipe to make in the backcountry. I hope you get really creative and fancy with the different types of pizzas you're able to create on your next adventure.